My fiancé's parents demanded I sign a contract giving them my entire salary after the wedding. My fiancé said, "Just sign it." I replied, "Let me get a pen." Then I stood up, walked out, and texted her a link to a Prenup 101 class. Her begging me to come back as I drove away. I, 30 male, am, or rather was, engaged to Bianca, 28. We've been together for 3 years, and the wedding was supposed to be in 6 months. Deposits paid, save the dates sent. I'm a logistics manager. I make a good living, not 1%, but very comfortable. She works as an event coordinator for a local nonprofit, which she loves, but it's more of a passion project salary. Her parents, Walter, 62, and Diana, 59, have always been intense. They live in this sprawling, oversized house that always seemed a bit too quiet, a bit too staged. Walter runs a high-end landscaping business that I always suspected was more high-end than business. Diana is a professional community organizer, which seems to involve hosting luncheons and criticizing other people's hydrangeas. They've always treated me with a sort of polite suspicion, like I was a horse they were inspecting before purchase. Last night, they invited me over for dinner. "Just us, Alex. We need to discuss some of the final wedding details." I walked in, and the vibe was off. It felt less like a dinner and more like an ambush. We ate a very dry roast chicken. Then, as I was nursing a glass of wine, Walter cleared his throat. "Alex, we're so glad you're joining the family," he started, all magnanimous. "And because we're joining our families, it's important we merge our assets for efficiency." Diana smiled, that bright, tight smile that never reaches her eyes. "It's about security, darling. We just want to ensure Bianca is secure." Walter slid a heavy, leather-bound document across the antique dining table. It thudded in front of me. It was not a prenup. It was titled Family Financial Covenant. I opened it. My blood didn't just run cold. It evaporated. It was a contract. 6 pages of dense, legal-ish jargon. But the gist was this. My entire post-tax salary, effective the day of the wedding, was to be direct deposited into a new family management account. This account would be controlled by Walter as the primary financial manager. I would be allocated a personal stipend of $1,000 a month for my expenses, gas, lunches, clothes, etc. Bianca's salary, all $32,000 of it, was to remain in her personal account for her personal discretionary spending. All major financial decisions, investments, savings, my car payments, my student loans, would be managed by Walter. I physically felt the room tilt. This was financial slavery. I started to laugh. I couldn't help it. It was just so absurd. "Walter, Diana, this is hilarious. You almost got me. Where'd you get this printed? A joke shop?" Walter's face hardened. "We do not joke about finances, Alex." You're serious?" I looked at Bianca. She was meticulously studying her fork, not looking at me. "Bianca, you've seen this?" She gave a tiny, almost imperceptible nod, still staring at the fork. "You want me to sign over my entire paycheck to your father? You want me to get an allowance?" Diana chimed in, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. "Alex, don't be difficult. It's just a formality. Walter is wonderful with money. He's managed our family's portfolio for decades. His portfolio being the failing landscaping business he was clearly trying to prop up with my income." "My paycheck," I said, my voice dangerously calm, "is not part of your portfolio." I looked at Bianca. She finally looked up, and her eyes weren't apologetic. They were annoyed. "Alex, oh my God," she sighed like I was the one being unreasonable. "It's not a big deal. It's just so everything is organized. It's just procedure. My parents have done so much for us with the wedding." "The wedding," I said, "that I am paying 80% of. This is insanity, Bianca. You're okay with this?" She threw her hands up. "It's what's best for the family. You're supposed to provide. God, stop making this a thing." Then she said the words that ended my life as I knew it. "Just sign it, Alex, please, for me. Just sign it." The room went silent. I looked at Walter, smirking. At Diana, looking at me like I was a stubborn toddler. At Bianca, my fiancée who had just tried to sell me into bondage for what, a lifetime supply of new shoes? I smiled. A big, wide, friendly smile. "You know what, B? You're right. It's not a big deal. Silly me, making a thing." They all visibly relaxed. Walter leaned back, triumphant. "Let me get a pen," I said, standing up. "Wonderful, son." Walter boomed. "I knew you'd understand," Bianca said, smiling with relief. I patted my jacket pocket. "Ah, shoot. I must have left my good pen in the car." Be right back. I walked out of the dining room. I walked down their marble-floored hallway. I grabbed my jacket and my keys from the hook. I opened their heavy front door. Alex, where are you going? Bianca called from the dining room, her voice laced with confusion. To get a pen, I called back. I walked out the front door. I walked down their perfectly manicured stone path. I got in my car. I turned the engine on. The front door burst open. Bianca ran out onto the driveway, barefoot, her face a mask of pure confusion. Alex, what are you doing? Get back inside. You're embarrassing me. I rolled down the window. No, Bianca, you embarrassed yourself, you and your parents. She started to look panicked. What are you? Alex, stop. You're overreacting. I pulled out my phone. I Googled Prenuptial Agreements 101. I found a link to a basic online legal resource. I copied it. I texted it to her. You might need this. Alex, don't you dare, she shrieked, starting to cry as she realized what was happening. You can't leave. Come back. We can talk about the stipend. I put the car in reverse. Tell your dad his covenant has a breach. Goodbye, Bianca. I backed out of the driveway, her screaming my name, begging me to come back. It was the most satisfying and most heartbreaking sound I've ever heard. I drove home. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from rage, and a weird, cold clarity. She wasn't my partner. She was their asset scout. I got to my apartment. Thank God we never moved in together. I always insisted on keeping my place. I sat down and I got to work. First call. My credit card company. Bianca was an authorized user on my primary card, the one she'd been using for wedding incidentals. Revoked, effective immediately. Second call. The venue. I'd put down the $10,000 deposit. I knew it was non-refundable. I called and canceled. Personal reasons, I said. The engagement is off, irreconcilably. I ate the $10. It hurt, but it was a hell of a lot cheaper than my entire future. Third call. The caterer. Another $5,000 deposit. Gone. Fourth task. The honeymoon fund. This was our artifact. We had a joint high-yield savings account just for the trip. I'd been auto-depositing $1,500 a month for 10 months. Total, I'd put in $15,000. She'd put in, I checked the statements, $500. I transferred my $15,000 to a new private account. I then Venmo'd her $500. The caption, honeymoon fund contribution. Then I closed the joint account. Last, I looked at the box on my dresser, the ring, $20,000. Paid for by me on my credit card, 0% APR. I'm a logistics guy. I like efficiency. It's a conditional gift. The condition just exploded. This was going to be the hard part. Update 1. It's been a week. My life is a raging dumpster fire, but I'm the one holding the matches, so I feel. Okay? First, thank you for the comments. Validating to know that I'm not the crazy one. The 72 hours after I drove away were loud. My phone was a nuclear reactor of notifications. I didn't answer. I let them all go to voicemail. It was a beautiful, horrifying symphony of entitlement. Voicemail highlights. 14 missed calls. VM1. Alex, you're scaring me. You drove off. You're overreacting. Come back, please. We can talk, baby. We can make the stipend $1,500. Just come back. I just got an alert. You canceled the card? The one for the flowers. How dare you? My mom is having a panic attack. You turn that card back on right now, you bastard. Alex, I just called the venue. They said you canceled. You canceled the wedding without talking to me. How could you? That was our money, Alex. Our deposit. Spoiler, it was my money. Diana Sist calls. VM1. Alexander, you have caused my daughter and this family an incredible amount of distress. You humiliated her by walking out of our home. Walter is disappointed. You need to call us immediately and apologize so we can salvage this situation. You canceled the caterer. You lost that money. Are you insane? You owe us that money. You will pay for this. You will not ruin my daughter's wedding. Walter missed calls. VM1. Alex, you made a rash, emotional decision. You misunderstood a simple financial proposal. A sign of immaturity. Call me back. We can renegotiate your stipend. Don't be a fool and throw away a woman like Bianca. They were so focused on the money I lost in deposits, they didn't even grasp that I was saving all my future money. The delusion is staggering. Now for the revenge, or as I call it, consequence management. I had one last awful thing to do. The ring. I was not eating a $20,000 loss. It's a conditional gift, and the condition, marriage, was terminated by her and her family's attempted extortion. I sent her one simple text. Bianca, the engagement is over. I will be at your office at 5 p.m. on Friday to collect the ring. If it is not returned to me at that time, I will file a police report for theft and a civil suit for its full value. I got a flurry of call me texts. I ignored them. Friday at 5 p.m., I stood on the sidewalk outside the nonprofit she works at. She came out, eyes puffy, looking wrecked. Good. Alex, she whispered, you're not even going to talk to me? The ring, Bianca? My voice sounded like gravel. Please don't do this. I love you. The ring. She started to cry. I don't have it. My stomach clenched. What do you mean you don't have it? I gave it to my mom for safekeeping. After you know. So call her. Tell her to bring it here. She can't, Bianca sobbed. She said it's a non-refundable deposit for my pain and suffering. I actually laughed, a short, bark-like laugh. Pain and suffering? For what? For being an accomplice in your parents' plan to steal my salary? It wasn't stealing. It was family, she shrieked, right there on the sidewalk. You are ruining my life. My friends all bought their dresses. The venue? You canceled the venue? I thought that was a joke. You just realized that. You can't do this. I'm suing you for the wedding costs. You owe me. Sue me for what, Bianca? The $15,000 in deposits I paid? Go for it. Now for the last time, give me the ring or I'm calling the police right now. She completely broke down. I can't. Why not? Because she sold it. The world stopped. She what? We needed the money, she wailed. The caterer, they sent us a bill for the cancellation fee. It was $5,000. We had to pay it. Mom used the ring. She said it was your contribution to the cancellation. They sold a $20,000 ring to pay a $5,000 cancellation fee. No, that's not what happened. They sold a $20,000 ring because they're broke and they're thieves. The cancellation fee was just a convenient excuse. I just stared at her. The woman I was going to marry. A common thief. Okay, I said, pulling out my phone. What are you doing? I'm filing the police report and a civil suit against you, your mother, and your father for the full value of the ring. You just admitted to converting my property. No, Alex, wait, please, I'll get it back. I'll get the money. Please don't do this. She actually grabbed my arm. I shook it off. Get the money for the judge, Bianca. I turned and walked away, her screaming, I love you. You're destroying my life at my back. I'm now out $15 in deposits and a $20 ring. This is no longer about a broken heart. It's about recovery. My lawyer is thrilled. Final update. It's been 4 months. Welcome to the thrilling conclusion of my financial and romantic nightmare. The legal battle was, in a word, disgusting. As promised, I filed a civil suit for the $20,000 value of the ring. I named Bianca, Walter, and Diana as co-defendants. Filing the police report was a process. The first cop I spoke to gave me the "it's a civil matter, sir" brush off. I came back with my lawyer. She's your fiancée, sir. My lawyer? She was. And she admitted in a verbal statement to my client that she took the conditional gift, gave it to her mother, who then sold it without my client's permission to, and I quote, pay a cancellation fee. That is textbook theft by conversion. We are here to make a record of that admission. They finally took the report. It was a he said, she said, but it was on record. That report was critical. Now, the dirty trick. The entitlement didn't just escalate, it went scorched earth. Walter, Diana, and Bianca lawyered up with some relative who looked like he moonlighted as a personal injury ambulance chaser. Their defense was art. They claimed the ring was an irrevocable gift. I had verbally agreed to the family financial covenant and then backed out in bad faith. They, and I am not joking, countersued me. They were countersuing for $50,000 for the entire cost of the wedding that I had mostly paid for, and $100,000 for Bianca's emotional distress and public humiliation. They were suing me for $150,000 because I refused to become their indentured servant. I was stressed. I was paying my lawyer. This was not the clean getaway I'd hoped for. But here's the thing about being a logistics manager. I am a maniac for records. I didn't just have my feelings, I had data. I had The original $20,000 ring receipt in my name paid for my bank account. The bank statements for all $15,000 of the deposits paid for my account. The Venmo transaction for the $500 honeymoon fund contribution. And my lawyer's favorite part, the voicemails. All of them. Saved, backed up, and transcribed. We ended up in a court-ordered mediation. The mediator, a no-nonsense woman named Mrs. Gable, looked like she'd rather be anywhere else. Walter and his lawyer blustered. "Mr. My last name is unstable. He fled a family dinner. He backed out of a handshake deal." Diana was in full bereaved mother mode. "He broke my baby's heart. She can't sleep. She's lost so much weight. He humiliated her." Bianca just sat there, sullen, staring at me with dead eyes. "He owes us. He ruined everything." My lawyer, a shark named Helen, just smiled. "Helen, Mrs. Gable, my client has a slightly different recollection. You claim he verbally agreed to this contract?" Walter, "Absolutely. He said, 'You're right, it's not a big deal. A clear verbal contract.'" Helen, "Interesting. Then why?" she said, pulling out a tablet. "Did your daughter text my client after he supposedly agreed? Just sign it. Stop making this a thing." She played the text-to-speech. Bianca sank lower in her chair. "Helen, and Mr. Walter, if he agreed, why did you leave him this voicemail after he left?" She played Walter's voicemail. The audio was crystal clear. "Call me back. We can renegotiate your stipend." Walter's face went from smug to the color of putty. "So he agreed, but you still needed to negotiate the stipend after he left?" Curious. "Now, about this countersuit. You're suing for $150,000 in wedding costs and distress. But my client has receipts showing he paid the $15,000 in non-refundable deposits you're claiming as your loss. So you're suing him for money he paid because he refused your extortion and because you stole his ring." The mediator just looked at them. "Ma'am," she said to Diana. "You sold the ring?" Diana, cornered, went on the offensive. "It was my right. He humiliated my daughter. It was a non-refundable deposit for her pain." "Thank you for that admission. Here is a copy of the police report where that action is listed as theft by conversion. Mrs. Gable, we are prepared to drop the civil suit if and only if the defendants are willing to face the felony criminal charges for selling $20,000 of stolen property. Check. Mate." Their lawyer started frantically whispering. Walter was sweating through his suit. Their $150,000 countersuit was dropped so fast it broke the sound barrier. The mediator looked at them. "You are going to pay him for the ring, or I'm ending this mediation, and you can explain to a criminal judge why you sold an item you admit wasn't yours." To avoid felony charges, they agreed. They had to pay me the $20,000. And here's the best, most realistic part. They didn't have it. The landscaping business was, as I suspected, a house of cards. They were leveraged to the hilt to pay for that big, empty house. Last week, my lawyer received a cashier's check for $20,000. I found out from a mutual friend that Walter and Diana had to take out a high-interest second mortgage on their precious house to pay me. The family management account they were building to save their failing business cost them their home's equity. Let's do the math. I lost $15,000 in deposits. I paid my lawyer $8,000. Sharks ain't cheap. Total losses, $23,000. I got back $20,000. In the end, this victory cost me $3,000 and 4 months of my life. This is the real part. Revenge isn't profitable. It's just justice. I'm still in the red, but I'm free. I saw them in the parking lot after the mediation. Bianca ran up to me, her face blotchy and ugly. "Are you happy now?" she spat. "Are you happy? You've ruined us. We're going to lose the house, all because of you." I looked at her, the woman I'd loved. "No, Bianca," I said. "I'm not happy. But I'm not your ATM. I didn't do this. You did. You saw that contract. You saw your future. And you said, just sign it. You made your choice." She just stared at me, the words finally landing. I got in my car. I drove away. I'm single. I'm out $3,000. I have to start over, emotionally. But I have my salary, all of it, for the rest of my life. And that's a pretty good deal. My fiancée swapped my name for her ex's on our wedding invites. "It was a typo," she laughed. I replied, "I'll fix it." Then I called the venue, canceled the reception, and emailed the corrected guest list a new invite to my "I'm single again" party. Her mom's screaming voicemail. I, 32 male, am, or rather was, a fiancé. I'm a planner. I'm a data guy. I like spreadsheets and clear-cut goals. My fiancée, Eliza, 30, is not. She's a go-with-the-flow, live-in-the-moment, aesthetics are everything kind of person. I thought we balanced each other out. I thought her chaos was charming, and she thought my stability was comforting. Turns out her chaos was just a deep, abiding love for her ex-boyfriend. We've been planning our wedding for a year. It's in 3 weeks. The stress has been high. Her mother, Diana, 50, is the ringleader, and she has a taste for things that cost more than my car. I've just been signing checks, trying to keep the peace. I've paid for 90% of this circus. The venue, the band, the artisanal, 6-tier probably tastes like cardboard cake. All on my cards. Eliza, who has a background in graphic design, insisted on handling the invitations herself. She used some high-end, painfully expensive letterpress service. The feel has to be right, Grant, she'd said. It's the first thing people see. It sets the tone. The box arrived yesterday. I was genuinely excited. This was it, the final piece. I slid open the box. The top one was beautiful. Thick, creamy cardstock. Elegant gold script. I read it. Diana and her dad's name request the pleasure of your company at the marriage of their daughter Eliza Rose to Julian Scott. I stopped breathing. My brain just buffered. Julian is her ex-boyfriend, the one she dated for 5 years before me, the one her mother still brings up at holidays, the one who got away that she swore she was over. My name is Grant. I pulled out another one. Same, another, same, the whole box. 200 invitations, all inviting our friends and family to the wedding of Eliza and Julian. I was weirdly calm. Just cold. I walked into the living room where Eliza and Diana were looking at floral centerpieces on a laptop. Hey Liza, I said, my voice sounding distant. The invites are here. There's a small problem. Oh, thank God, she said, not looking up. How do they look? Are they perfect? They're something, I said. They look great, but they have the wrong name on them. Diana huffed. What? Did they misspell your last name? Those printers, I swear. No, I said. They got your name right, Eliza. They put Julian's name instead of mine. Silence. Diana's head snapped up. Eliza froze. Then Eliza laughed, a high-pitched, hysterical titter. Oh my God, she said, covering her mouth. No, are you serious? She grabbed the invite from my hand. Her face went pale, then flushed bright red. It must have been a typo, she gasped, still laughing. A typo, can you believe it? The printer must have, oh my God, I must have uploaded the wrong draft. I had his name in there as a placeholder from an old file. How embarrassing. Diana chimed in. A typo? Oh, Eliza, it's just a silly mistake. Grant, don't look so serious. It's honestly hilarious. I just stared at her. A typo? You typoed your ex-boyfriend's full name onto our wedding invitations. Grant, stop, she said, her laugh fading into annoyance. It was a mistake, a stupid file error. Don't be paranoid. You're ruining the mood. We'll call them, get a reprint. Eliza, I said, my voice still quiet. The wedding is in 3 weeks. There's no time for a reprint and to mail them out. And you didn't type this. You uploaded a file named Eliza and Julian's Wedding. Her eyes went wide. I hadn't even known that. It was a guess. A cold, logical deduction. Her expression confirmed it. You are so dramatic, she snapped. It's just a name. God, you're always like this, trying to make me feel bad. It was a simple, stupid mistake. Are you going to hold this over my head forever? I looked at her. Really looked at her. The panic in her eyes, the immediate gaslighting, the shift to my behavior being the problem. I thought about the last year, the accidental texts from him she'd reply to, the way her mom said, Julian used to love this restaurant, the everything. The circuit breaker in my head, the one that keeps me calm and logical, just flipped. I smiled. It felt tight and wrong. You're right, I said. It's just a typo, a silly mistake. Don't worry about it, babe. I'll fix it. She visibly relaxed. Oh, okay. Good. See, not a big deal. Not at all, I said. I'll handle the typo and the guest list. You keep working on the flowers. They're the important part, right? The tone. Exactly, she said, relieved. Thank you, baby. You're the best. I went into my home office and closed the door. I sat there for 10 minutes, just vibrating. The hurt was a physical thing, like a punch to the gut. Then, I got to work. I'm a planner, after all. Step 1, the money, 7:10 p.m. I opened my laptop. I have a separate high-yield savings account where I'd been dumping all the wedding funds. It had about $22,000 left in it. I transferred the entire balance to my personal checking, then transferred it again to a new savings account at a completely different bank, effective immediately. Step 2. The venue. I pulled up the contract for the Grand Oak, our stupidly expensive venue. I'd paid the $10,000 deposit. The final $15,000 was due next week. I called the events manager, Sharon. Sharon, hi, it's Grant. We have an issue with our wedding. We're gonna have to cancel. Oh, Mr. My last name, is everything all right? Not really. I'm afraid the bride-to-be is still in love with her ex-boyfriend, so much so that she put his name on the invitations. There was a gasp on the other end. I know the $10,000 deposit is non-refundable, I said. I'm eating that. I just need to make sure my card isn't charged for the balance. Please confirm the cancellation via email. Of course, Grant. I am so sorry. Me too, I said. Thanks. Step 3. The vendors, 7:20 p.m. One by one. The florist, $3,000 deposit, lost, canceled. The band, $2,500 deposit, lost, canceled. The cake, $1,000 deposit, lost, canceled. The photographer, $4,000 deposit, lost. This one hurt. I liked him. Canceled. Total cost of this typo, $20,500, cheaper than a divorce, I figured. Step 4. The typo fix. I logged into the wedding website Eliza had so meticulously built. It had the full guest list, all 200 emails. I clicked Email all guests. I drafted a new email. Subject, an important correction regarding the my last name, Eliza wedding. Dear friends and family, you may soon be receiving a beautifully printed invitation to the wedding of Eliza and Julian. This was, apparently, a typo. As the actual groom, Grant, I've decided to fix this little clerical error. The wedding of Grant and Eliza is canceled. However, I've already paid a massive non-refundable bar tab at a fantastic venue, and I hate to see good booze go to waste. Therefore, I cordially invite you to Grant's I'm Single Again party, same date, same time. New venue, the Apex Lounge, address. Come celebrate my narrow escape. Gifts are not expected, but your presence and thirst is appreciated. See you there. Grant, I stared at the send button. My hand was shaking. This was the point of no return. I thought about Eliza and Julian. I clicked send. Step 5, the aftermath. 8:00 p.m. present. My phone started to melt. Texts, emails. My best man Ben was the first. Dude, holy, I'm calling you. My mom, honey, please call me. What is going on? Mutual friends. WTF, this is a joke, right? OMG, Grant, I am so sorry. Then, Eliza's phone, which she'd left on the coffee table, started to melt. She and her mom were still in the kitchen, blissfully arguing about peonies. I heard her walk back into the living room. God, who is blowing up my... She picked up her phone. The silence was deafening. I just sat in my office waiting. Grant? She said, her voice small. Grant, what is the Apex Lounge? I walked out. She was paper white. That's my fix, I said. I canceled the wedding and invited everyone to a party instead, at a different venue. You're not invited. You canceled? She shrieked. You what? The wedding. It's off. You can't marry Julian if I've already canceled the venue, Eliza. It was a typo, she screamed, her face turning crimson. A typo. You psychopath. You ruined my wedding. No, I said, grabbing my keys and my laptop bag. You did, when you put his name on the invite. I'm calling the venue. I'm fixing this. You can't. Go ahead, I said. The deposits are gone. The contracts are voided. All in my name. All paid by me. I was walking to the door when her mom, Diana, finally processed what was happening. She stood in the doorway blocking me. You are not. You are going to fix this. You are going to call everyone back and then apologize. You have humiliated my daughter. She humiliated me, I said, moving past her. Have a good night, Diana. Oh, and Eliza, I'll be changing the locks on my condo tomorrow. You should probably make some plans. I left. I'm at Ben's house now. My phone has 18 missed calls from Eliza, 12 from Diana, and 34 texts, and 1 voicemail from Diana. I put it on speaker for Ben to hear. Grant, you son of a... You listen to me. You have ruined my daughter. You canceled her dream wedding. You canceled the florist. I am going to sue you. I'm going to sue you for everything you have. You will pay for the dress. You will pay for the cake. You will. It just dissolved into screaming. Ben just looked at me wide-eyed and handed me a beer. "Dude," he said, "that $20 was the best money you ever spent." I think he's right. Update 1. It's been a week. I'm writing this from a sterile, furnished corporate apartment. My company owes me a favor, and my fiancée put her ex's name on our wedding invites. It was a good enough reason to cash it in. I haven't been back to my condo. First things first, the I'm single again party is 100% on. The Apex Lounge was bemused, but totally cool with me transferring the bar tab. I think the manager gave me a pity discount. The fallout has been biblical. My condo is premarital. I bought it 5 years before I met Eliza. But as my lawyer, yes, I have one now, shout out to Greg, informed me she has tenants' rights. I couldn't just change the locks. So I had her formally served with a 30-day notice to vacate. This did not go over well. She's still in the condo and she's not happy. She finally called me from a blocked number and I, stupidly, answered. "You served me?" She shrieked. "You had a stranger come to my door and serve me? Like I'm a criminal?" "I'm following the law, Eliza. You have 30 days to move your things." "Move my things? This is my home. You are abusive, Grant. This is financial abuse. You canceled my dream. You put your ex-boyfriend's name on the invitation, Eliza. That was your dream, apparently, not mine. It was a typo. A mistake. How many times do I have to say it? I was stressed. My mother was. I uploaded the wrong file. It didn't mean anything." "It meant enough," I said. "I'm blocking this number now. All communication needs to go through my lawyer, Greg. You have his card." I hung up, but the entitlement has just mutated. Yesterday, I got a registered letter at my office. It was from Diana. It was an invoice, a meticulously itemized 5-page invoice for $28,450. It included $10,000 for purchase of non-refundable wedding gown and accessories, $5,000 for emotional distress and humiliation caused by libelous email. She used the word libelous. It's not libel if it's true. $3,500 for prepaid non-refundable beauty treatments, tanning, facials, hair trials. $2,000 for loss of deposits for bridal shower venue. $1,500 for custom-made cake topper. And my personal favorite, $6,450 for consultation fees for wedding planning services rendered by Diana, her last name. She was billing me for helping? I just stared at it. The $1,500 for the cake topper jumped out at me. It was this custom-made silhouette thing. I have the Amex charge on my statement. I paid for it. Not her, not Diana. They were trying to double dip. I scanned the invoice and emailed it to Greg with the subject line, "FYI, this seems ambitious." Greg called me back, laughing. "Do not respond," he said. "This is what we call amateur hour. It's legally meaningless. It's a tantrum on paper. But the artifact, the cake topper, it bothered me. I paid for it. It was mine. And it was presumably still in my condo. Then, the dirty trick. I got an alert from my bank, a fraud alert. Someone had tried to cash a check from my old dormant checking account, an account I haven't used in 3 years. The check was made out to Diana, her last name. The amount? $15,000. The memo line, vendor payment, wedding. It was Eliza. She must have found an old checkbook in the back of a drawer in my office and tried to pay her mother for her consulting fees. The check obviously bounced. The account was overdrawn by about $14,980. But it was attempted fraud. Criminal. I called Greg. He wasn't laughing anymore. "Okay," he said. This is good for us. This is very good. I'm sending this to her lawyer right now with a note. This is how we get her out of the condo before 30 days. Greg sent a blistering email to Eliza's new lawyer, a bottom feeder Diana must have found in the phone book, that very politely outlined the check fraud. He suggested that, in lieu of his client, me, pressing criminal charges, Eliza should agree to vacate the property in 48 hours and sign a full release of all property, save for her personal belongings. Her lawyer must have told her how much jail time felony check fraud carries. I got an email 2 hours later. A single line from her lawyer, "Miss, her last name, will vacate the premises by 5 p.m. Friday. That's tomorrow. Ben and I are going over with a police escort just to supervise the move out. The I'm single again party is officially back on at my soon-to-be exorcised condo. I'm changing the locks for real the second she's gone. Update 2, final. It's over. I'm sitting in my condo. It smells weird, like burnt hair and cheap perfume. But I'm here, and it's mine. The move out was a spectacle. I showed up with Ben and 2 police officers. The officers were incredibly professional, just stood by the door to keep the peace. Eliza was there with Diana. They had not packed. They had apparently spent the last 48 hours grieving. And by grieving, I mean destroying my stuff. It wasn't overt, it was petty. My favorite leather chair? A long, thin razor cut down the back cushion. My high-end blender? Gone. My entire collection of spices? Dumped into the kitchen sink. My toothbrush? Found it in the toilet. And the smell? She had apparently emptied every bottle of perfume she owned onto my mattress. I'll have to burn it. Diana started immediately. You brought cops? You're arresting her? You monster. Ma'am, the officer said, we're here to prevent a breach of the peace. Mister, my last name is allowing Miss, her last name, to retrieve her personal items. These are her items. Diana shrieked, gesturing wildly at my television. She lives here. This is her home. No, it's not, I said, my voice dead. Greg's email, 48 hours. Get your stuff, now. Eliza just sat on the floor, crying. You did this, you hate me. I do now, I said. You wrote a fraudulent check for $15,000, Eliza. You tried to steal from me. Get your stuff. That's when I saw it. The custom cake topper. The $1,500 artifact I paid for. It was on the dining table. It was defaced. She'd taken a black marker and drawn, well, let's just say she drew some vulgar things on the silhouette of me. And she'd snapped her own silhouette off at the ankles. You can't have that, I said, pointing at it. My mother paid for this, Eliza screamed, grabbing it. No, she didn't, I said. I pulled up the Amex charge on my phone. I did. That's my property. Put it down. She held it. A real standoff. The cops tensed. Then, with a final primal scream, she threw it against the wall. It shattered into a dozen pieces. Fine, she sobbed. Now it's nothing, like you. The officer stepped forward. Ma'am, you need to gather your belongings and leave. Now, or you will be arrested for property damage. It took them 2 hours. They filled a U-Haul van. Diana tried to take my sofa. The officer had to intervene and asked to see a receipt. She couldn't, because I bought it. Finally, they were gone. The door closed. The officers left. I stood in my ruined, smelly apartment. And I just laughed. I lost a chair, a mattress, and a blender. It cost me about $25,000 in lost deposits and damages, and it was worth every single penny. The I'm single again party was 2 weeks ago. I had the condo professionally cleansed, biohazard cleaners basically, and it was the best party of my life. Over 100 people showed up, my friends, my family, and hilariously about half of our mutual friends. The ones who had heard the full story, aided by the forwarded email of course, and were disgusted by her. Ben made a speech. To Grant, a man who knows when to fold 'em and when to throw a banger of a party with the pot. We used a copy of the Eliza and Julian invitation as kindling for the fireplace. It was cathartic. The aftermath? I heard from a mutual friend that Eliza and Diana are furious. Not just at me, but at the world. Their smear campaign failed. My libelous email was just the truth. Eliza is living with her mom. And Julian? The man she sacrificed her life for? He actually messaged me on Instagram. Hey man, heard what went down, that's insane. Just wanted to say I had nothing to do with it. She's a lot. No hard feelings. He wasn't in on it, he wasn't her co-conspirator. She'd just been obsessing, fantasizing, staring at an old file named Eliza and Julian until she convinced herself it was real. It's pathetic. I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just done. I'm out $25. I'm sleeping on an air mattress until my new bed arrives. I need a new blender, but I'm free. I didn't marry into that family. I didn't tie my life to a woman who would commit a felony over a typo. The revenge wasn't the party. The revenge was believing her. I said I'll fix it, and I did.